The launch is great, but sometimes it's just not enough. When your opponent is just out of reach, or you're trying to break through their own tempo, you need something more aggressive. That's why I'm going to introduce you to a Fleche. It's quick, fast, and when done right, it can land before they can even react. Hi, I'm Michael Kozin. I'm a former gaming addict who turned his life around through training historical European martial arts. Now I help other guys do the same through training real-life longsword techniques that build discipline, purpose, and real strength. Let's get into it. Why use the Fleche? The Fleche, French for arrow, is a more aggressive footwork pattern used in offensive actions, which is adapted from Olympic fencing into historical European martial arts. Unlike a lunge where your front foot lands forward and your back foot stays at the back, the Fleche is a bit different. It's a sprinting-like motion where you explosively drive your weight onto your front foot and your back leg explosively kicks out to the front, which gives you that arrow-like posture. So the proper sequence of the Fleche is you start by extending your sword arm first, so leading the whole movement, while your body weight is leaning to your front foot and the back leg, when you lose your balance forward, kicks out in front of you. The Fleche is excellent at closing huge gaps of distance to your opponent to quickly hit him to the mask or to the neck area, while still defend yourself from his afterblow with your crossguard. The Fleche is pretty effective against opponents who rely on keeping distance and space between you. You can surprise your opponent with the Fleche if you do it correctly. Let's actually drill this Fleche step without a strike to the mask and without any weapon. Get into your fencing stance. If you're right-handed and your dominant hand is the right one, then your fencing stance should look like this. Your right foot in front of you, your left one is behind, and the distance between those feet is around 1.5 feet. And you bend your knees. Right, we already know this from the previous video. The Fleche needs a bit more momentum than the lunge to properly execute it. Of course, you can do it from the get-go, from the stationary position, but later on we'll add a fencing step to it to give you more momentum. The proper sequence of the Fleche is where you start in your short guard, in your posta breve. You lead the whole movement with the hands first. You don't extend right away. You just start with your hands, then you move your center of weight onto your front foot, and when you feel like you're losing your balance forward, that's when you kick out your back foot in front of you, which gives you more momentum to drive you forwards. That's why it looks like sprinting, but it's more controlled. And that's why the Fleche needs more extra steps when you finish it, because you lose your balance. That's why you have to be ready to stop yourself at the right moment. Of course, not like in the lunge when you do a lunge and you're already stationary because you finished it. The Fleche needs more time to recover. So the Fleche is more aggressive, covers more distance, but it's even riskier than the lunge because you already know you have to be sure that the Fleche will cover the proper distance to your target, so your attack isn't too short, because you have to recover a bit more time than the classic lunge. So training the Fleche requires of you more finesse than the lunge itself. That's why I think that the Fleche is for more advanced fencers than just for usual beginners. So keep that in mind. You may mess up, but don't worry about it. You have to drill this for 10 repetitions up to 2 or 3 sets. Remember about the proper sequence, about starting the whole movement with your hands. Then you move your weight onto your front foot, and when you lose your balance forward, that's the moment where the strike should land, connect with your opponent, and then you even more propel with the back leg forwards. If you want to build this kind of footwork and get specific step-by-step drills about how to train this, then check the links in the description. It's a From Gamer to Swordsman community where it's a part of Longsword Beginners course I've made. Okay, so how to actually progress the drill? To do this, we need 2 things. A padded longsword, which I have told you to get in our previous video, and a fencing mask that you should get too. And we'll use a fencing mask as our dummy to deliver our strike with intention to the mask. We have to measure the distance to our opponent with our dominant sword hand and get a big step back. Get into your fencing stance. What's the proper sequence? From the posta breve, the short guard, we initiate the whole movement with our hands moving forward, and our weight is moving onto our front foot. We try to lean forwards, and when we lose our balance, that's where the hit happens. That's when the hit happens, sorry. So once again, measure the distance, big step back, get into your straight fencing stance, and lead with hands, move your center of weight forward, lean forwards. When you lose your balance, that's when you kick your back foot forwards. Once again, measure the distance, 1 fencing step back, get into your fencing position, posta breve, short guard, lead with hands, strike, and stop. So you don't land with a face on your dummy or something like that. Once again, what I would recommend for you is to have your dummy placed the way for you to pass near it, so you have more space behind your dummy to stop your advance. I'll change the position of my mask here because I want to have more extra space for me to stop my advance. As I told you, the Fleche has more momentum behind it than the lunge, so when you land a Fleche with a blow to the mask, you probably will cross your opponent next to him. I measure the distance. Okay, I'm out of reach. I start with hands, lean forward, and I finish my footwork around here or even behind the opponent. So the important thing is for you to repeat each repetition correctly, so you don't skip to the next one. You have to do it with control, so maximum efficiency and technique over speed. You have to reload after each repetition. So measure the distance, get in a fencing stance, measure the distance, big fencing step back, train this sequence with Fleche plus the blow to the mask for 8 repetitions and 3 sets. So common mistakes you should avoid. The first one is not striking with the tip portion of your sword. You should target with the tip and the edge of your sword to deliver a proper cut when you extend your hand. Second one is not reaching fully to your opponent, so missing the blow entirely or overextending too much. That links to the first one. You should target with the tip portion and extended hand to properly deliver the strike. How to actually use the fleche with the blow to the head? The first use is when your opponent is very good at keeping distance to you. It's a lot harder for you to catch him because he's just further from you. The second use is linked to the first one, when your opponent tries to do a lot of feints but doesn't commit an attack, and when he has a moment of hesitation. You take the initiative and you counter-attack him first, and you close the line with your blade and your crosscut, so you don't get hit back. But beware of this. The fleche can be overused by you. It's not a crutch tool. It's a move that you have to use where applicable, because if you overuse it, your opponent would notice this and would provoke you to do this. And that's when you get parried riposte pretty quickly. If you want more tips and my own personal recommendation about how to actually drill this by your own, so you can join my community from gamer to swordsman, where all of this and more is a part of my beginner's longsword course. So check the links in the description. In this community, there's lots of guys who picked up a sword by their own and trying to leave the video games behind them. So join right now. And remember, always take the initiative.